Hello and sunny Bonani! Guyanad, it has been way too long. Welcome to the third tier of Breakaway League Racing. We are at the Miami International Autodrome. Moteo Mekwa, we see you in the comments, and welcome to everybody who has yet to make their presence felt in the comment section. My name is Bob O'Connor. I'll be with you on commentary to take you through this inaugural race of this brand new Breakaway Racing League season. We have a rejigged league season in terms of the format. We will now have 12 races throughout this season, this being the first of 12. And, of course, now in this season, each tier will have one race each week, beginning, of course, tonight with Tier 3. All these drivers who have one objective in common: to fight their way out of Tier 3 and up the Breakaway Racing League ladder. Well, they have just about 18 minutes to do so. It's a short quali session. Another thing that has changed as far as Tier 3 is concerned, they now have 18 minutes to stake their claim as far as the fastest lap times are concerned. And thereafter, we will have a 50% race around this circuit. It's a beautiful day. The sun is out. So that bodes very, very well for their qualifying prospects. Who will reign supreme? Well, look at that. We've got Q-Main in the Red Bull IM show. In the Aston Martin, it looks like Shakes partners Q-Main, and the Mercedes duo today is Deep Saint and Billy Hendricks. I'm sure a lot of you will remember Billy Hendricks for their fighting spirit towards the end of last season's Tier 3 action. Definitely Duke is here representing Abuja, Nigeria, but also the Scarlet Red of the Scuderia Ferrari. His partner is none other than Zule in the other Ferrari. It looks like Team Mercedes, that being Billy Hendricks and Deep Saint, are going to waste no time straight out onto this beautiful street circuit at the Miami International Autodrome. Here comes Billy Hendricks, will be followed shortly, of course, by Deep Saint. One of only 3 cars out on track, the third being I Am Show. And we do expect more drivers to join this year's lobby once the clock strikes 8 o'clock, which it already has, and the load shedding schedule keeps on getting updated, and drivers' power supplies keep on getting updated with the passing of time. How will Billy Hendricks do this time out? We saw him be pretty aggressive, pretty assertive out on track. I remember in the race in Mexico last season, where we saw the likes of SSL Mango make their Breakaway League Racing debut. Billy Hendricks was quite racy there, and he's now making his way down the back straight, the final DRS zone, hurtling down towards turn number 17, I believe it is. And then Billy Hendricks will be the first to set a representative time. Mandla is in the comments. Kapoza is in the comments, as is Mex. I wonder if Just Tendo is that Nintendo Wii that we always see cheering on Mex. It might yet be. Billy Hendricks is going to be the first to set a representative time. Here he comes now, hurtling towards turn 1, a little bit wide of the apex. Billy Hendricks is going to be the standard bearer with 15 and a half minutes of this session to go. Mandla expects a time in the region of 1 minute 32 seconds. Well, I do wonder if some of these drivers will have something to say about that. Billy Hendricks is on the verge of completing the first sector. He's quite hesitant as far as his throttle inputs are concerned. Of course, he's wary not to spin out and crash that car. He sets a 31.3, I do believe that was in the first sector. It's going to be purple. No surprises there. He's the first to set a representative time down the DRS straight, the second of this year track. And he hurdles now towards turn number 11, a slow left-hander. Duke is here. He's definitely going to... I'm going to catch up with what the Sig is saying in the comment section. Moteo Mekwa says it's not a Nintendo Wii, but soon. Oh, Billy Hendricks has a little bit of a moment through the chicane. That being turns 14 and 15. He has to gather himself back again. Billy Hendricks being the first to set a representative lap here. Here comes his teammate, Deep Saint, now down towards this main straight. It's Billy Hendricks hurtling towards the turn number 17, heavy braking zone. Will he nail this corner? Will it be a little bit tentative? Well, he's got a couple of times to give it a go again. It's pretty clean there through turn number 17. And it looks like it's going to be a time of the 1 minute 31.928. That is Billy Hendricks. What about Deep Saint? Can he go better? The answer is no. 34.762 means that it's definitely some work to do for Deep Saint. Q Main, what do you got, Main? Well, the answer is a 31.757 by the end of Sector 1. Let's catch up and see how he's doing. There's a yellow flag all throughout that long straight. It might yet be just the drivers on their outlaps, the likes of Shakes and perhaps, yes, definitely Duke. But here comes Q Main moving very, very slowly through this slow sequence of corners. The chicane turns 14, 15, 16, and he's clean through. Now setting it all the way down towards 17. Will Q Main challenge the likes of Billy Hendricks? I Am Show has crossed the line, meanwhile, for a 40.264. So definitely work to do for the Aston Martin driver. Here comes Q Main. Now, turn 17, very, very slow. Second here for Q Main. Really playing it ultra careful. Taking no risks, taking no chances. Feeling it out as he crosses the line. Quickest, regardless, it's a 31.294. Q Main, Team Red Bull, tops the timesheets. How about that? Well, Just Tendo is on an outlap, so we will instead focus on this man, definitely Duke. I believe behind him is the Red Bull of Shakes. And thankfully for Shakes, he's getting a very nice toe down the straight in this rush towards turn number 11. So definitely Duke inadvertently helping Shakes get a beautiful toe. And look at that. Shakes is there and thereabouts, staying in touch right on the cusp of Duke's gearbox. Oh, Duke almost having a moment there with the wall through this tight sequence of corners. And now he's going to send it hurtling down this back straight, the final DRS zone. And crucially, Shakes is right there to soak up whatever slipstream definitely Duke is giving away. So the Ferrari driver inadvertently helping the Red Bull behind him. There's a slow-moving Aston Martin. Get out of the way, I Am Show, unless you're gearing up for your own push lap. Oh, I Am Show almost goes into the fast-moving, definitely Duke. I wonder if he just sends the driver behind him. Duke goes quickest, 129.549. But what about Shakes behind him? It's a 25.765. Beautifully done by definitely Duke, who goes quickest, despite the specter of the slow-moving Aston Martin, which almost had a moment with him and through the final corner. So beautifully done by definitely Duke with 11 and a half minutes of this session to go. Brand new Breakaway Racing League action. Welcome, folks. It's Just Tendo who's next to set a representative time, moving quite slowly through the initial sector. Crosses the first split within 33.6, I believe that was. Now hurtling down towards turn number 11, who opens up that rear wing for DRS action. Down towards turn number 11. That red light is flashing. Tendo perhaps not being so circumspect with his battery usage. Looks like a wide entry through turn 11, which compromised his entry through 12 and 13. And here comes turn 14. Oh, he's gone completely off. Is that invalidation? No. But Just Tendo really not having such a great time out here, going completely off the mark. Lancelot is in the comments saying, man, oh man, they're absolutely fast. Well, definitely Duke is absolutely quick over a single lap on this here track. Man Ray says, we are back in the comment section. Peace is expecting a time to 1:28. Just Tendo moving, very, very, very slowly here. But he's still going to bring it across the line to get his bankroll lap in. And it's going to be 36.664 for Just Tendo. So feeling things out. He's still got 10 minutes, or just over 10 minutes to go before this qualifying session is over. Definitely Duke is the man to beat. Quickest man on track thus far. Duke and Shakes, the only drivers in the 1:29 thus far, as we watch Tendo nurse that car all the way back to the pit lane, presumably. He's completely flat out of battery. And it looks like Billy Hendricks and Zule are the two drivers on a brand new set of tires. Zule, of course, has yet to set a back row lap. Here he comes now in the Ferrari. He's seen what his teammate can do here today. Definitely Duke lighting it up with that 1:29. Can Zule come even closer? Does he have what it takes to match the kind of efforts that definitely Duke put in? Well, time will tell. He says to Lavuyo, you coming back? Sage Fake says Duke is here. He's going to go sub 30. And Sage was absolutely right. And yeah, we'll see whether or not any more of your predictions or comments will come to pass. But we will watch that very, very closely as Zule moves right on along. It looks like the Mercedes pair of Deep Saint and Billy Hendricks are giving it another go. On board now with Deep Saint. What can he do? Turns 1 and 2. Without incident, heavy on the curb there through 3. Compromised his exit. Deep Saint is going to rue that. Lavuio says, soon, I will miss this game's battling. Missed this game battling the likes of Charlie 3 Stacks, Charlie 3000 as Deep Saint is not having such a great time. Yellow flag being brought out somewhere behind Deep Saint. He's really not having such a good time here trying to improve, but instead he's down on his time as Deep Saint. He's lost about 7/10 of a session as Q Main may have spun out and faced the wrong way for too long. Q Main, having worked so hard for that 31.294, is out. It's a DSQ for Q Main. He's now going to have to bide his time in the pits. Q Main was P3, but now Q Main, as it stands, is going to have to start minimum from P9. Nightmare scenario for the Red Bull driver as we watch Deep Saint come through. He's managed to gain 0.4 of a second from that first sector, which was not so great as far as his effort was concerned. Cubzinho is in the lobby. He'll be taking part, hopefully, in this quali session and the race proper. Here comes Deep Saint through the final sequence of corners. Ooh, not very comfortable on the throttle there. He let it go a little bit. He crosses the line. Could not improve, could Deep Saint. What about Billy Hendricks? The answer is he's found almost 0.4 worth of improvement with that fresh set of tires. But will it be enough to dislodge the two above him? The answer is no. 31.453 is quicker, but it's not enough to dislodge Shakes from that P2 spot minimum. Zule was one of the last to come out for his run. It's P4, 31.794 for the Ferrari driver, whose teammate is looking absolutely sensational. That being definitely Duke, who is back on another push lap, making his way now through Sector 1. Let's watch and see how comfortable Duke is relative to the rest of the gang. He's not shy to go heavy on the curves there. Goes wide there on the entry before this DRS zone, but still finds 0.5, half a second worth of improvement despite being the man in provisional pole position. Definitely Duke, definitely the quickest, definitely red hot in that scarlet red Ferrari, now making his way towards turn 11 with 6.5 minutes to go. And there's a slow-moving Mercedes ahead of him. Is it Deep Saint? Is it Billy Hendricks? It matters not, because definitely Duke made it through cleanly without having to worry too much about them. Now, into the chicane, turns 14, 15, clean for definitely Duke. He's definitely finding some improvement and now rushes down towards the main straight. He's lost some time. Sector 2, definitely not very comfortable. Is that, of course, technically demanding, traction demanding Sector 2. So we could perhaps surmise that he has prioritized his setup for straight line speed advantage. Now, through turn 17 comes definitely Duke, and he's going to be tight on the curve through 18. Yes, Stitch Fix's Mangle is here. Well, definitely Duke is the man to beat. 29.218 is the new benchmark by definitely Duke, who is looking absolutely sensational. Is Shakes on another run? The answer is not quite. It may yet be an outlap by the driver currently sitting P2. So we'll see what he can do. 5 minutes of the session to go. We've seen a couple of drivers join the lobby. So we'll see whether or not they can, well, tune their setups in time to be able to put in that representative lap and stake their claim for those positions among the front runners. Shakes giving it another go. Turns 1, 2, and 3 without incident. Also looking very, very comfortable compared to the rest of the pack. One of only 2 drivers on the 1 minute 29. Not shy to be on the limit through this twisty part of the track. Nails that apex there, and here he comes. Now down the main straight as Caboza relays a message from Q-Main saying, I missed the last corner, tried to reverse, and got a disqualification for taking too long to face the right way. So Q-Main now watching from the pits and hoping to make his way back into the reckoning. What used to be SSL Mango is now CPI Mango. He's in the lobby and he's here to stake his claim on a potential pole position. Ooh, Shakes coming a little shaky there through that chicane, but manages to keep that 3/10, almost 4/10 improvement relative to his previous attempt. Here he comes now. It's Shakes towards turn number 17. Behind him is one of the McLarens. It could be Cubzino. It could be just Tendo. Final sequence of corners for Shakes. Can he pip definitely Duke to the top spot? The answer is a resounding yes by a factor of just under a tenth of a second. Shakes is top of the pops. 1 minute 29.162 is the new benchmark. And he has an almighty spin as he tries to find his bearings. Back to the track here. Cubzino's Sector 1 was in the 32-second mark. So let's see how his Sectors 2 and 3 will fare. Meanwhile, ahead of him on this year's back straight is CPI Mango, prepping for his push lap. Cubzino has yet to make his presence felt. Can he give the likes of definitely Duke and Shake something to think about before this 3 minutes is over? Time will tell. Turn 17. He touches the apex. Trying not to go too heavy there. He's absolutely on the limit. It's not going to be in the top 2 times, but it will be good enough for P5. 131.926. Now, on to the man who absolutely lit up Tier 3 when he joined late in the season last year. He is, of course, one of the drivers that the entire Breakaway Racing League organization will be watching closely to see if he can fight his way as quickly as the likes of Don Radical up the league ladder and up towards the top tier. He's that good. He's that quick. He sets a 29.950 for the first sector. Mango is here to make his presence felt. It was a series of freshly squeezed fastest laps when he joined Breakaway Racing League last time out. What will he be putting on the line here today? Well, he's got a growing audience to see what he is made of. Look how tight he is, happy to run to those walls, leaving nothing to chance, leaving nothing on the margin. Through the chicane comes Mango, looking absolutely quick. He may yet set a purple sector 2. 102.090 is the split at the end of that particular sector. Now, DRS zone, he opens up that rear wing to get a couple extra kilometers per hour down this back straight towards turn number 17. Back on board with the Haas driver for today. A little wide of the apex through 17. Will that cost him dearly with the likes of Shakes and definitely Duke? Oh man, it looks like it's going to be a scorcher. It's going to be a stunner. It's a 27.286. It's a huge margin between CPI Mango and the likes of Shakes and P2. Night and day. Boys to men, boys versus men, as the Mango emojis come sprinkling across the comment section, courtesy of former Tier 1 champion Titus. Freshly squeezed, the fastest laps, it's CPI Mango laying down the gauntlet once again, showing his class, showing his pedigree, showing exactly what he is made of. Take note. Tier 3, Tier 2, Tier 1. CPI Mango has just made his presence felt. Now, definitely Duke is giving it another go, but his Sector 2 split, no, it doesn't look like he had begun as yet. I believe this will be the start of definitely Duke's response versus Mango. Zotal responding in the comments saying, I, Mango, barely believing the kind of times that we're seeing in the third tier of Breakaway Racing League. Here comes definitely Duke as Shakes now retires from this session. What can Duke do in this final push? If they have not crossed the line as yet, this is their last chance saloon. Looks like just Tendo has crossed the line to begin his final push on an aging set of soft tires. Definitely Duke crosses the line. He finds almost a half a second, 4/10 of a second worth of improvements from his previous push. So it's looking very, very good. Zotal barely believing the kind of times that he's seeing in those comments. No way, says Zotal in the comment section. Here comes definitely Duke towards turn number 11. He's definitely finding some improvements. We saw how tight Mango was to that particular corner, to that particular wall, as Lungs barely believes what he sees there in the comment section. It's a clean navigation of this chicane by definitely Duke. What'll it be? Towards the end, he finds slight margin of improvement, a couple further hundredths of a second, as he now makes his way, hurtling towards turn number 17, as Zotal reckons that 127.2 will be the fastest time that we will see this week, regardless whether it's Tier 3 or Tier 2 or Tier 1. Well, here comes definitely Duke's answer. He may not be close enough to pick that time, but he's definitely going to be close enough to overtake Shakes, and he's going to be starting this race in P2. CPI Mango, definitely Duke, will start in the front row at this Miami circuit. What about Just Tendo? Sadly, it does not look like anything along the margins of an improvement for Just Tendo, whose best time today was a 134.699. Good enough to start in P7. So, your grid as it stands: CPI Mango, freshly squeezed the fastest laps once again, P1. Definitely Duke will start in second place. Shakes will start in P3, next to Zule in that second row. The third row comprised of Billy Hendricks and Cubzino. Just Tendo just behind his teammate. Their teammate with P7 alongside Deep Saint. I Am Show and Q Main will start in P9 and 10 respectively. Escalo barely believing what Duke did just there. Fire emojis. Duke Sector 2 kills him. High gears, says Zotal. And Simps sadly says I can't join the lobby anymore. Simps Zombie wasn't in the lobby a little bit earlier. Had slight network issues. Dipped in and out of the lobby. Sadly unable to rejoin before the race starts once again. Well, that's your grid, folks. Zule will start in P4. What kind of a performance will we see from freshly squeezed Mango? Well, look at that gap, 1.3 seconds. And mind you, Mango had only looks like 2 sets of tires. Yeah, definitely Duke used 3 sets of tires to set that time in P2. 3 tires also used by Cubzino. I Am Show and Shakes using 2 sets of tires. That gap, the gulf in class, it's sensational stuff by Mango. Definitely Duke flying the flag high in the 1 minute 28s, and the only drivers in the 1 minute 20s is Shakes. So the top 3 in the 1 minute 20s, and from Zule onwards, it's 131 and onwards. Zotal says, man, Oaks are showing off here, as Zule did set that lap on a set of medium compound tires. Man Ray says, Zotal, yeah. That time he did this by OSQ one-shot quali. Well, folks, it's Mango versus definitely Duke versus the weather. How's that for a twist in the tail? I do wonder how many of these drivers did adjust their setups with the rain in mind. And I do hope that we get a race pretty much without too many incidents, as we get a beautiful glimpse of that Hard Rock insignia here at the iconic, well, the brand new Miami International Autodrome, which gave us a quite an entertaining Grand Prix last year in the real world of Formula One. It's a 5.4 kilometer track, 19 corners in total. It's got 3 straights, as you've seen, 3 DRS zones, including that long back straight down towards turn number 17. And in regular conditions, top speeds usually reach more than 340 kilometers per hour here. There are elevation changes, such as at the turn 14 and 15 chicane, which has an uphill approach, as we now get 4 lights, 5 lights, and a drive-through penalty for definitely Duke, who was way too eager on the throttle there. It is Mango who gets a beautiful run off the track, leading by a full second as he comes out of turn number 3. Cubzino, look at that, all those positions gained. 3 positions gained for Cubzino, who's now fighting among the podium places. Definitely Duke is really struggling over here. He was way too eager. He went before the lights went out, and he finds himself now down 3 positions. He worked so hard to Duke, now down to P5. Q Main, what a start that was, gaining 4 places since the start of this race. Just Tendo is holding steady in P7, Deep Saint P8, I Am Show 9th, and Zule dropping 6 places. That is an absolutely horrible start for the Ferrari driver. Back to the front we go as Deep Saint becomes the first retiree, sending it straight into the wall in Sector 1, bringing out yellow flags all throughout. It's a virtual safety car. Deep Saint, before the end of lap number 1, crashes out. Deep Saint becomes the first casualty of the Miami Grand Prix. He is out. Zule is now going to hope to fight his way back up the pack. Tendo is speeding under the safety car. Earns himself a drive-through penalty. Virtual safety car. Remember, you got to slow down to about 40% of your normal race pace. Just Tendo making a rookie error there, similar to this man who was too quick. Just Tendo, slow down.
Andotaka skipper. Enyathelo just 10. Angazi ucabanga ukuthi late, ucabanga ukuthi yapha or M17. Actually M1 day. Ndota slow down, a virtual safety car.
Yes, it's a virtual safety car. Just Tendo is still sending it. Well, you can't just do that. Watch your race pace as definitely Duke. It's a 5-second penalty, but I think that could yet be taken away. Is that a wing change for Definitely Duke? No, it's a fresh set of intermediate tires. Oh no, Definitely Duke thought that he could serve his drive-through penalty now. That's what he thought he could do, but you can't serve a drive-through penalty under virtual safety car. And at the end of VSC, 3 drivers are left with drive-through penalties for various reasons. Rookie errors in Tier 3, as Mango is now going to send it and reestablish his 2.2-second advantage at the restart of this race. Meanwhile, behind him, Shakes versus Cubzino versus Billy Hendricks, who's having an almighty scrap for that P2 spot. But look at the gap between these 3 and Definitely Duke. It's a 17-second chasm between Billy Hendricks and Definitely Duke at this early stage of the race. Well, Simps Zondi, it's really a pity that we couldn't have you in the race. We will definitely, hopefully, see you in the lobby next week. As you say, Simps Zondi, of course, is another superb talent in Tier 3, one to watch. Ooh, look at that. Billy Hendricks hits the wall. Does Billy Hendricks compromise his wing? Thankfully for him, the answer is no, as Deep Saint trudges out of this session. We'll now watch proceedings from the paddock. Will Deep Saint became the early casualty of this race, as Just Tendo has left the session, presumably because of issues with their network here. We will see how that happens. Look at that. CPI Mango, quickest man out on track. Now has a 4.7-second advantage. It really is night and day as far as the Gelf in class is concerned. Look at his fastest lap versus everybody else's. About 4 of the drivers hovering at over 2 minutes as their fastest laps, while Mango is at 1 minute 43 and a half. So beautiful stuff by the Haas driver. Here comes Shakes versus Billy Hendricks. Is Cubzino close enough? No, he's lost ground. He can barely see the drivers ahead of him. Can Cubzino. So we're going to need to... Yeah, he might have made a crucial mistake there, so we'll hop on board with Billy Hendricks and see how his scrap versus Shakes will go. Meanwhile, I Am Show versus Zule is another battle taking place down in P7 and P8. We'll catch up with them a little bit later. Here they come now towards turn 11. Ooh, Billy Hendricks braking late, out-braking himself, goes completely off the racing line, completely off track, and has to find his way, and that'll cost him a couple of tenths. That gap now 1.1 seconds, so thankfully for Billy, Shakes is not looking very comfortable out here as he struggles to stay in touch with the fast-moving Mango. Oh man, 8.5 seconds within 3 laps, folks. That is the golf and class that Mango is serving here in the Breakaway Racing League stable. Absolutely comfortable. And, well, an uncharacteristic mistakes or perhaps crash could... bring Mango back into these guys' clutches. Look at that fastest lap, 1 minute 38.515 by Mango. He has blitzed his fastest lap. Within 1 lap, he goes quicker by a factor of 5. He went about 5 seconds quicker than his previous fastest lap. Lavuyo Maddie says a whole 8 seconds. Man, he can barely believe what's happening here. Billy Hendricks now 1.8 seconds, struggling to keep in touch with Shakes, who himself has a 10-second chasm between himself and CPI Mango. So not looking very comfortable out here between some of the top runners. Let's catch up with what's happening at the back. Just Tendo is, well, it's the ghost of Tendo having ghosted out. I Am Shell was on the verge of giving Zule something to think about, but in the interim finds himself 3.5 seconds behind the Ferrari ahead of him. So there is Zule that we saw courtesy of that camera angle, and ooh, I Am Show going completely off the track there, so really not having such a great time out here. Ooh, really struggling. That gap getting larger and larger. Almost 5 seconds now, the gap between Zule and I Am Show. So I Am Show, he has a lot of work to do between now and the end of this race. Gliding, sliding, crabbing all over the track here in lap number 4. So he's definitely got his work cut out. Tabanga Manguni says, oh, DNF first race, first lap. I lost concentration in the rain. Deep Saint commiserations with you, Tabanga Manguni, as CPI Mango once again sets the quickest lap. And sensational stuff. His quickest time, 1:37.5, compared to the next quickest driver, which is definitely Duke, who has that drive-through penalty. His quickest is at 142, I beg your pardon, 0.685. The Gulf in class. Look at those times. Definitely Duke fighting his way up the grid, trying to catch up. And he now comes in to finally serve that drive-through penalty in lap number 5. And definitely Duke really wasted so much time having tried to serve that drive-through under the virtual safety car, but he will now get a chance to do exactly that. Back we go towards the likes of Shakes and Billy Hendricks. As definitely Duke is now making his way out. It looks like Billy Hendricks has managed to keep Shakes within his sight in lap 5 of a total 29. A lot of racing still to go. Just Tendo, the ghost of Just Tendo, is still making his way around this here track as these two in P2 and 3 make their way down towards turn 11. A much better entry by Billy Hendricks into turn 11 this time out. Manages to keep that gap as small as he possibly can, almost making contact with the wall through the chicane there. But he is within a second, within 0.8 of Shakes ahead of him. He's going to give the Red Bull driver a lot to think about. Thank you, Madla, for reminding all of our spectators. Remember to like the stream, folks. Like the stream and subscribe to our channel if you have not already. Ooh, Shakes is much more cautious on the brakes compared to Billy Hendricks, who almost made contact with the Red Bull ahead of him there. So Billy looking more and more comfortable as these laps tick on along, and as these tires, of course, have come into their optimum working condition. He definitely is much braver on the brakes through these solo corners is Billy. He always inches to within touching distance of that gearbox. Ooh, Shakes has a little bit of a shaky moment on the exit of turn number 4. What's that? And here comes Billy Hendricks. Billy on the attack. Billy versus Shakes. Mercedes versus Red Bull. Shakes is shaking in his boots. He's quaking in the cockpit. He's not able to keep up with the pressure. There's a yellow flag, I believe. And here comes Billy on the inside. Billy up to P2. He's past the Red Bull driver. And the driver, who's looking much more comfortable between these two, has surpassed and has gone up towards P2. And look at that gap, 23 seconds, but Shakes is going to fight back immediately, side by side, wheel to wheel, and Shakes is back down the main straight towards turn number 11. Shakes says, you will not have it so easy, and here comes Billy on the attack. Billy makes contact. It's a light contact between the Mercedes and the Red Bull on the entry and exit of turn number 11. The fire emoji is coming on for Billy from Peace, from Lungs. Shakes straight line speed is sensational, so says Zotal. Absolutely. This is a beautiful battle that we're watching, and as they scrap between them two, that gap grows larger and larger and larger. And look at that, folks. 24 seconds is the chasm that Mango has put between himself and these two who are fighting it out for P2. Billy Hendricks versus Shakes, a beautiful sequence of battles that we've seen thus far. But as that gap stretches a little bit, we now have Q-Main versus definitely Duke, and Q-Main almost makes contact with the back of the Ferrari ahead of him. It's Q-Main looking much more comfortable through this slower sequence of corners, and here they come. Definitely Duke and Q-Main and Zule are within touching distance of one another over here in this back straight as they rush down towards turn number 17. Beautiful sequence of battles all over the track here, and here comes Zule, who's going to be first. Oh, Q-Main with an almighty dive, but he outbreaks himself and he hits the wall, and Q-Main damages his front wing when they come into the pits. No, he does not. Despite shedding a little bit of debris, he was also brave, was Q-Main, but he did not time his braking. He did not nail it well enough to be able to get that move done on definitely Duke, who lives to fight another day, does the Ferrari driver, and Q-Main will presumably now be struggling with perhaps a slight issue as far as his grip levels are concerned, if he's taken a significant amount of damage. Ooh, definitely Duke goes wide there through that left-hander. Will that give Q-Main enough of an initiative? That gap is now about 2.2 seconds, so it was a beautiful step by Q-Main. He really went for it. He really said, well, if you're going to be slow into turn number 17...
Yeah, Q-Main vela to for himself. Definitely Duke vela not today, I am egg. Not today, Satan. I know definitely took
Yes, he hit the Bonda, did Q-Main, and now he's falling further and further behind. Perhaps the contact with the Bonda, or the wall, is Bonda, of course, is the South African word for a wall. And perhaps it cost Q-Main too much now. It's definitely Duke versus Zule. It's a Ferrari Fist of Fury. Ferrari fight. Can Duke do something versus Zule in lap number 8 of 29 here? And I do wonder whether or not this weather will abate, and whether or not the sun will come out in the later stages of this race, and if we will start to see something interesting towards the end of proceedings. Now, definitely Duke within 1.2 seconds of his teammate. Make that 1.1, make that 1 second, make that less than a second. Does Mango ever make mistakes? Asks Man Ray in the comments. It does not look so, because within the space of 8 laps, that man, Mango, freshly squeezed fastest laps, is now ahead by a factor of about 32 seconds, and the specter of Mango is now inching towards lapping some of these drivers on these tracks. Under pressure, he does make mistakes, so says Peace, aka the Nucho, in the comment section, and that sentiment echoed by the likes of Zotal, who have raced against Mango in simulator sessions or in quote-unquote friendly lobbies. Here comes definitely Duke, trying not to outbreak himself through turn number 11. Trying to keep that gap as small as he possibly can. He did find himself within a second of his teammate, did Duke, and he finds himself back within that second. Raining, of course, there will be no DRS as Zule tries to get a clean exit, but it looks like definitely Duke definitely got the better exit as far as those two are concerned. Battery power down to about 50% for definitely Duke, compared to his teammates, who has got a little bit of advantage, 65%, as Sibusiso Shava reckons that Mango might lap everybody by 2 laps if these guys are not careful, because right now it looks like Mango is going to be lapping the likes of I Am Show. Meanwhile, Shakes versus Billy Hendricks. Round 2. Billy Hendricks managed to overtake Shakes off camera, but Shakes being the fighter that he is, he's going to fight back immediately. There's yellow flag out on track in Sector 3. I wonder who that is for. We'll catch up with that action a little bit later. Ooh, Billy Hendricks trying not to outbreak himself too much. Went a little bit offline. That gives Shakes the initiative through turn number 12. He is now within touching distance, within half a second of the Mercedes ahead of him. We've seen what Shakes' straight line speed did to Billy Hendricks last time out. Ooh, Billy going wide on the exit of turn number 16. Shakes This is your chance. What can you do? The answer is, I'm going to use my battery power. I'm going to use my potentially superior straight line speed. Here comes Shakes. Now, on the inside of Billy Hendricks, who has no answer to the straight line speed of the Red Bull. Now, down towards turn number 17. And Billy Hendricks will make contact. Oh, Billy. Almost making contact. Shakes outbreaks himself, and Billy Hendricks gets the move done. He's now back up to P2. Billy Hendricks says, whatever you can do, I can repeat in the fight back of the ages. Billy Hendricks is now up to P2 decisively, and that margin is now a second and a half, with Shakes having outbraked himself and unfortunately losing all that initiative. Beautiful battling by these two in this Tier 3 action. Contact, says Zotal, as Billy Hendricks now finds himself back up towards P2. The race leader, the story of the day, the king of the Miami International Autodrome is none other than CPI Mango, who has a 41 second advantage and has already lapped the likes of I Am Show. Mango's next target is Q Main, who is ahead of him. If you look down on the track map, Q Main is now making his way across turn number 3 as CPI Mango is now hurtling down towards the main straight. So, sensational stuff by the would-be Tier 3 champion. 40 seconds in lap 10. That is insane, says Zotal, as I Am Show, who has already been lapped, is now coming into the pits. Now, the rain has eased off a little bit here, as and to get a sense of what I Am Show was thinking. It's a lost wing, a wing change, and a fresh set of intermediate tires for I Am Show, who has already been lapped. And if you look on the track map, it looks like the likes of Billy Hendricks and Shakes are going to lap I Am Show as well. On board now, back with Shakes versus Billy Hendricks. If they did make contact, how much damage could Billy have taken? Both Billy and Shakes having a slight moments with their rear ends coming out of the final sequence of corners. And now it's Shakes' turn to pile the pressure on the Mercedes ahead of him. Lap 11 of 29. If you've just joined us, welcome to the debut race of this brand new Breakaway Racing League season. Welcome to Tier 3 action as Billy Hendricks goes wide and Shakes sends it straight into the wall. An unforced error forces the RP18 to ghost temporarily. That moment with the wall will cost him dearly. But thankfully for him, Billy Hendricks does not seem to eke out too huge of a gap. Looks like his wing is still intact, but I do wonder how much he will be feeling it as far as that damage is concerned. Mango, says Enquali, this guy must go straight to Tier 1 after this race, says Mango. Sprinkles a freshly squeezed fastest lap, another one, 1 minute 36s this time, as the likes of I Am Show rack up a time penalty for cutting corners. Ooh, I Am Shakes almost has a moment with that particular corner. Billy Hendricks not comfortable at all through this slower sequence of corners. Here comes Shakes once again on the attack. Last time out, he perhaps outbraked himself and perhaps suffered a tiny little bit of contact. He drains his battery now as he looks to fight back versus Billy Hendricks, who defends the outside line this time and says, "You shall not pass," to Shakes. And a little bit of contact this time as Shakes sends it on the outside. They made a little bit of contact now, so coming through the final sequence of corners. It's Shakes who's still hanging on for dear life. He's still there and thereabouts. He's still using his battery as Shakes. He's still fighting for his life. And what sensational battling they've given us. And Shakes is heavy on the brakes over there as Billy Hendricks was fighting for his life. As the likes of Zotal can barely believe what they're saying, but they're seeing the kind of advantage that Mango is gaining on the field. A couple of seconds per sector at this rate, because as Billy and Shakes fight it out, it leaves Mango with enough room. Here comes Shakes on the inside, courtesy of Billy going off the track, but Billy manages to close the door as he fights his way back into the reckoning. What a beautiful battle these two have given us. They've both completely drained their batteries, but Shakes on the back straight down towards turn number 11. He gets the overtake done. It's a beautiful move on the outside by the Red Bull driver. Billy Hendricks tries to fight back, but this time no contact made. It's now Billy's turn to be the one ogling the gearbox of the car ahead of him. Man, oh man, looks like these two are gonna lap the likes of I Am Show, who gets a time penalty for exceeding track limits. But of course, he would be ghosted as he gets lapped. Does I Am Show by the drivers running in P2 and 3. So I Am Show has been lapped. Here comes the likes of Kubzinho. If I Am Show is not careful, he may yet be lapped by the driver currently running in P4 as things currently stand. Oh, Billy Hendricks into the wall! How on earth did he keep that car alive? Both Billy Hendricks and I Am Show managed to keep their cars running. That front wing is completely gone by Billy Hendricks, who was trying to fight back against Shakes, but he bit off way more than he could chew. And thankfully for him, it's a heart-in-mouth moment because that car somehow is still running. It fits a set of medium compound tires, does Billy Hendricks, and a brand new wing. So it's a roll of the dice here by the driver who now, courtesy of that crash, will be running in P6 by the time he exits this track. But is it dry enough? No! It doesn't look like it's dry enough by any stretch of the imagination. Now, folks, I want you to get a sense of just how far ahead of the pack this man is. He is now hunting down the likes of Billy Hendricks. I think Q-Main has already been lapped. And ahead of CPI Mango on track is Billy Hendricks, who is slipping and sliding, presumably, on those medium compound tires. The top on board, both Q-Main and Billy Hendricks opted to roll the dice and fit those medium, of course, slick tires meant to be run in a dry circuit. They rolled the dice, did Billy and Q-Main. They fitted those tires early. Let's see how hard it is. Yeah. No grip whatsoever. Billy Hendricks completely off the line. And there goes the race leader. There goes CPI Mango. And look at that. The difference, of course, in pace and the difference in grip levels by the driver who is, of course, on those intermediate set of tires. And in the background, there comes Billy Hendricks sliding his way out of turn number 16 and making his way down this back straight. Is Billy Hendricks and CPI Mango, the race leader, with just about half of this race concluded. When will Mango come into the pits? The answer is not now. It's nowhere near dry enough. Yellow flag in sector 2, presumably. Oh, look at that, quickest time once again, 36.348 for Mango. There is a slow-moving Red Bull. Look at that. Oh, Shakes is a full minute behind the race leader, and he should see the slow-moving Red Bull. Yeah, it looks like Q-Main, who is gone off track at that particular corner, but Shakes is just going to carry on and pay no mind to that his slow-moving teammate who went completely off track there. So, as it stands, with about half of this race gone, it's CPI Mango versus Shakes. CPI Mango P1, Shakes is P2. Kubzinho, P3 in the McLaren. Behind him is definitely Duke. But definitely he's got some work to do to catch up to Kubzinho. 11.8 seconds behind Kubzinho is definitely Duke. Zule follows his teammate in P5. Billy Hendricks rolled the dice. He's of course not going to turn that position around. He's going to opt to stay out here on this track. Still P6, 30.6 seconds. Oh man, going completely off the track. No grip whatsoever. The same corner, turn 11, where always just struggles for grip. But in these conditions has absolutely none of it. Q-Main running in P7. I Am Show, the ghost of I Am Show, coming into the pits from P8. And the ghost of Tendo running in P9. So, it looks like CPI Mango is on the verge of ghosting. Don't tell me that's Kubzinho that he's about to ghost, because that would be sensational stuff. No. He's about to lap, I believe, for the second time, just Tendo. Oh man, CPI Mango in a class of his own. 1 minute 5 second advantage with just over half of this race gone. I can't believe I'm saying that, folks. Sensational stuff. And with all that said, with 15 lap old tires, CPI Mango is within 500th of a second of his fastest lap. So he's still finding the pace, he's still finding performance despite these aging intermediate tires out here at the Miami International Autodrome. He's hunting down, I believe it's Q Main now. Yep, once again, here comes CPI Mango past Q Main, who is only running as things stand in P7. Has just been lapped by the race leaders. So the field is really spread out a bit as things are unfolding in this here race. Saw some beautiful battles between the likes of definitely Duke and his teammate Zule, and the likes of Billy Hendricks and Shakes a little bit earlier on. But yeah, Billy Hendricks just did not have enough in the bank to stay in touch with the fast-moving Shakes, who now is fighting to maintain that grip on that P2 spot. Cubzino, what a day for him. Joined the lobby late, but finds himself now within a potential podium finish, courtesy of all the drama that we've seen unfold in this race. Lap 17 of 29. Remember to like the stream, folks. It's the first race of the Breakaway Racing League. Is it I Am Show? Yeah, I Am Show brought out another yellow flag here. He's not careful. He may yet get lapped for a third time. Is it going to be another wing change? No, just another tire compound change. He's not risking it. He's opting to go for a fresh set of intermediate tires. Look at the penalty situation, folks. Definitely Duke with that 5-second time penalty, which may yet be rescinded, considering there are no pit lane speed limiters here in this tier. Cubzino, 3 seconds, as does Zule. And, of course, I Am Show, who are watching, has just exited the pits, has that 3-second time penalty to contend with. Lap 17 of 29, led by Mango, within 2/10 of his quickest time thus far. Look at that. 136.348 is Mango's effort. The second quickest man on track is the man placed in second, P2. I Am Shakes, the second quickest time of the day, 141.110, closely followed by Cubzino, who's looked very good here today. I beg your pardon, second quickest man is definitely Duke, who's running in P4. Then we have the likes of Shakes and Cubzino in the 1 minute 41s as things stand. There's a yellow flag on the exit of, looks like turn number 17, that back straight, one of the Red Bulls. It looks like Q Main. Yeah, on the exit of 17 at the end of that main straight, as we're now watching Shakes, who I believe has overtaken Billy Hendricks at this particular juncture. Yep, Shakes has overtaken Billy Hendricks. That's Billy Hendricks behind him that you've... has lapped Billy Hendricks, I beg your pardon. Billy Hendricks, of course, opted to roll the dice, but it doesn't seem to have been the right move at this stage. Q Main just racking up those time penalties for crossing the line, I think, on pit exit. Earns himself a 5-second time penalty, trying to catch up to the back of I Am Show. But can he do it? That is the question. Cubzino coming into the pits means he gets overtaken by definitely Duke. A fresh set of intermediate tires for him. And yeah, the reason why Billy Hendricks was lapped is because he ditched that strategy of running on intermediates. He opted to come back, did Billy Hendricks, for a fresh set of intermediate tires. He was on mediums, was Billy Hendricks. So Cubzino now trying to find his way back into the reckoning for a possible podium place. He's definitely got so much work to do. 13 seconds, the gap between himself and definitely Duke, who is running ahead on those aging inters in P3. So most of the grid having relatively lonely races with the exception of Q Main, who having recently pitted, now finds himself within touching distance of the Aston Martin ahead of him. Oh, and he breaks late, does Q Main. Does he outbrake himself? The answer is no, but can Show fight back on the exit of 17? The answer is no. Q Main says, see you later, Main. He's now up to P7. I Am Show. Can he fight back? Is the question. With 10 laps of racing to go, I Am Show breaking so late, almost sending it completely into the back of that RB18.
Hey, it's not make sure. It's not make sure. I am sure. And I want to show Red Bull yaban. Everyone's on track. I thought so Red Bull. You want to Turanga?
Yes, Idura Kangaka. He almost went straight into the back of the Red Bull, but I Am Show at the last minute, just adjusting that line ever so slightly. Mistake by Q-Main gives I Am Show another. Oh, he makes contact. There was no need to make contact. All you had to do was just adjust your line. Q-Main, I Am Show. He went straight into the back of the Red Bull. And now, as they hurtle their way towards turn number 11, who will be braver on the brakes? Who will go for it? Oh, I Am Show. He hasn't even turned off his battery. Look at that. It's still on. It's completely drained. But that ERS is perhaps not serving him too well here. I Am Show versus Q-Main in the latter stages of this race, serving up some fantastic entertainment. Meanwhile, it looks like CPI Mango is catching up to the back of, I believe it might be Zule that Mango is on the verge of lapping, but I Am Show did not have enough to be able to stay in touch of Q-Main ahead of him. So very, very entertaining couple of laps that these two have just given us. But I Am Show is just going to bide his time and hope that Q-Main makes another mistake, which would bring him back into the reckoning. We have about 9 laps, soon to be 8 laps of racing to go. Let's catch back up with that man. Mango, freshly squeezed fastest laps. The oh-so-dominant task driver today, showing what he is made of. Now hunting down, I believe, Zule, who is now fighting for the pride of Tier 3, so that he does not get lapped as a driver running in P5.
And okay, what about this team as a Tier 3? Kabang ba sa pleba o ku P5? Kabang uzame ka plung kanjin. Ay. Fight, Zule fight.
Yes, Zule fighting for Istima of the 3rd tier of Breakaway Racing League. On board now with CPI Mango, freshly squeezed fastest laps, making his way now through Sector 1. Zule takes a wide line through this left-hander. Perhaps now he can, smell the pressure. Now he's gotten word from race control. He has to make way. The blue flags are waving, meaning he has to make way for the fastest moving driver ahead of him. Who was behind him. And that is Zule, who has just been lapped. And at this point, folks, CPI Mango, the lead between P1 and 2 is almost a full lap. A full lap. Well, CPI Mango, I believe, did a 1 minute 27. If he can get a 1 minute 27 lead, then that it just shows you the kind of class that he has, putting a kind of a gap, a lap's worth of a gap between even the likes of Shakes in P2 would be absolutely sensational if you could get it done. But of course, Shakes, Cubzino, definitely Duke. They will not go down without a fight. It's Tuesday, action night. Cubzino may yet be next. Where is he? As Tendo racks up a time penalty for track limit incursions. Cubzino is some way away here. He's only making his way now through the main straight. Did he lap the whole grid? Asks Don Rabico. I don't think he has lapped the driver in P2 as yet. I believe Shakes is marginally ahead of him. If you look on the track map, down Rabico, you can see that Shakes is the last driver that the race leader has yet to lap. We have 7 laps of racing here to go. It's been a case of, boys versus men. It's Formula Mango versus Formula 1 here. He's in a class of his own, is the Haas driver. Has looked absolutely unflustered, unbowed, unbent, unbroken, like the motto or the house words for House Martell goes in the world of ice and fire. This man has been on fire here, as he is now on the verge of beginning lap number 23 here. No time penalties. And look at that. He's on an aging set of tires. And as Shakes comes in to the pits, he will be surpassed. He will be lapped by CPI Mango, who laps the entire grid in the space of 23 laps. Shakes could not keep up with those aging intermediate tires. And I tell you what, if Mango goes a full race without coming into the pits with an aging set of intermediate tires, that will be one of the most sensational things that we have seen in the entire history of the Breakaway Racing League. CPI Mango putting on an absolute clinic, a masterclass of wet weather driving here in Miami. Beautiful stuff from the P1 running driver who has lapped the entire grid at this particular point. But look at that. Shakes, who was running in P2, has rolled the dice here. It's been getting progressively drier, and with 6 laps to go? I mean, if he was going to gamble for slicks, why not go for the softs at this particular stage? Bongani, Debo Croc says, wow, barely believing what we're saying. Escala once again giving the rallying cry, saying, give that man a free pass to Tier 1. Let's go, says Espuda. Kid K says, I won't mind swapping tiers with Mango. At this rate, if the guys in Tier 2 are not careful, he would be there sooner than you would believe. Now, Shakes' gamble for medium tires has brought Cubzino into the reckoning. And here comes CPI Mango, who has the luxury of a full lap versus the rest of the grid. And Cubzino, what can he do now? Inters versus mediums. Who will break later? Who will be braver? Shakes takes an outside line, but leaves room on the inside for Cubzino, who says thank you very much. And CPI Mango has left it absolutely late to pit for a set of soft compound tires. Judging it perhaps inch perfectly is CPI Mango. He is going to go even quicker if this track dries out enough for us to be able to see completely dry asphalt between now and the end of proceedings. We have about 5 laps of racing to go. CPI Mango leads proceedings. The mediums are struggling, says Zotal in the comments. Absolutely. Mediums are struggling. The mediums find themselves 3 seconds behind Cubzino. Shakes roll the dice, but it has not paid off. And he goes for an almighty spin, does Shakes, in Sector 1. And he sends it into the wall, losing even more ground to the P3 running Cubzino. Oh, man. Nightmare scenario. Very, very unfortunate is Shakes, whose race has been going so well up until now, making an uncharacteristic error, which cost him all that momentum. And assuming that definitely Duke or Cubzino could still come into the pits, Shakes may yet come to regret that moment, which sent him into the wall. Is that a mistake by CPI Mango? It is! Mango has made a mistake! It's an uncharacteristic error! On the exit of turn number 16, Mango had a moment with the wall. Mango seems to have taken some damage, and he is human after all. He's not exactly infallible. He's not a robot. Freshly squeezed mistakes by Mango in lap 24 of 29, but thankfully for him, he's got a huge buffer. He can afford to pit as many times as he'd want at this point. And now, presumably, will get a wing change at this particular point. And, well, that'll give, a slight glimmer of hope to the likes of definitely Duke, but he was so far behind was Duke. But look at that. Mango is going to double down on his choice to take slicks. It's another set of soft compound tires, also a wing change, as the likes of definitely Duke now is going to try and make his way somehow back into the reckoning. But it doesn't even look like Duke was close enough to even have a little bit of a say here. Oh, mistakes all over the pits here. Looks like Zule in the first sector might have brought out a yellow flag here. It may even have been Shakes. Yep, it was Shakes, I believe, because Zule now finds himself within a second of the slow-moving Red Bull ahead of him. So those slick tires definitely struggling now with just 4 laps of racing still to go. As Buddha says, Tier 3 is always unearthing something new. Is Mango the next rising star to take Breakaway by storm? You know what, Esbuda, I would not be surprised to see that if he did what the likes of Django, the likes of Context, the likes of Mex have done, and find his way up the tiers back to the top tier. And Zule hunting down Shakes had a moment with the wall on the exit of 16, and all that hard work, could that come undone? Well, Zule has an advantage as far as battery power is concerned. So it may not yet be all that bad. As look at that gap between Mango, definitely Duke. Oh, has managed to bridge it as Shakes makes a mistake. Zule will need no second invitation. Shakes is shaky on the exit of the final sequence of quarters. And here comes Zule, intermediates versus slicks. Shakes has been shaky since going on to the slicks. It's a beautiful move on the inside by the Ferrari driver. He's now up to P4. Beautiful overtake, but will he make a mistake? Because Shakes will fight it back initially, coming through towards turn 1, but those slick tires just don't have enough to be able to make a comprehensive fight back now. With 3 laps of racing still remaining, Zule versus Shakes, who has a huge moment with the curb, almost making contact with the wall once again. Can Shakes find his way back into the reckoning? Within a second of the Ferrari ahead of him. He's trying, he's huffing, he's puffing with just 3 laps of racing to go. Shakes versus Zule. Shakes has pretty much drained all that battery now as they hurtle down towards turn number 11. Zule, his battery power is at about 60%. He's got all the power in the world. Does Zule to be able to fight back on the straights. 65% ERS, 65% battery. Zule says, I've got the power! At this particular point of the race, and he's looking very comfortable compared to Shakes behind him. Oh, Shakes had a huge moment there coming through the chicane, and he loses even more momentum. Mango showing that he is not infallible here, getting a 3-second time penalty for track limit incursions. Finally, having sailed, having coasted throughout this race, Mango finally showing some flashes of humanity here, and earning a time penalty on top of the mistake which cost him his front wing a little bit earlier on. Now Shakes, who was really trying to fight back hard, has fallen now to about 3 seconds behind Zule. Who has been your driver of the day? Let me know, folks. We've got 2 laps of racing still to go. That is the situation as far as time penalties are concerned. I am Sho. He's taking part in a time penalty shootout here, folks. 15 seconds worth of time penalties. The likes of definitely Duke, the likes of Q Main, 5 seconds respectively, as does this man, Shakes, whose medium tires perhaps may yet have some say as far as that P4 spot is concerned between the start and the end of this proceedings now. Zotal reckons that Duke is the driver of the day. Wandau says, you know what? I'm going to give it to Sho. Who is your driver of the day, folks? Let me know in the comment section as we now watch this final battle between Shakes and Zule. The track now has really dried out. Clouds is still there. And we're still running only 1 DNF. Oh, man. Did Shakes make a moment with the wall there? Or have a moment with the wall there? Because I think I saw some debris there. But anyway, Mango is now just going to look to breeze past Shakes, who is still trying to have his own fight there. But meanwhile, Kubzino fights his way up to P2 because definitely Duke has come into the pit. Perhaps Duke is now thinking about the fastest lap of the race. He has sacrificed that P2 spot, has Duke, having come into the pits, but also with just 2 laps of racing to go and a 3.2 second buffer, perhaps Duke thinks that, you know what, on these soft tires, I've got more than enough in the bag to be able to catch up to Cubzino and go for that fastest lap. Well, will he catch him is the question that Zotal asks in the comment section. On board now, we go with the scorching hot Scuderia Ferrari, definitely Duke in the top 3 on the podium places as things currently stand. Definitely Duke really had a solid season, all things considered, last time out. He did get promoted to Tier 2, courtesy of some of the drivers relinquishing their seats, but it was too late in the season for Duke to be able to stake a claim for the playoffs. Here he comes now, the man from Abuja, Nigeria, fighting it out, has bridged that gap now to about 1.7. Will it be 1.6 seconds? We get a second DNF. So late in the race, just Tendo becomes the second driver to crash out. It looks like turn 16, where the McLaren of just Tendo lost and binned his car. Tendo, you could have claimed easy points. Cubzino, network issue. So late in the race. So late in the race, Cubzino, I better hope that you can rejoin because you need to cross the finish line in control of your car. Otherwise, you may yet be relinquishing crucial points here. Cubzino, I do hope you can rejoin here. That means definitely Duke got that P2 spot uncontested. And that scorching hot scarlet red Scuderia Ferrari is now up to P2 behind the race leading and soon to be Tier 3 championship leading Mango. Freshly squeezed mango juice is being hunted down, but definitely won't be caught by definitely Duke as things currently stand. Man, oh man, oh man, what a sensational debut season opening race we have had here. Of course, the time penalties will come into play here, folks. Look at that. Even though Shakes may have something to say against Zule here, that time penalty may cost him dearly towards the end of proceedings here. But he's huffing, he's puffing, he's trying to catch up to that Ferrari ahead of him. And remember, Zule is running intermediate tires, which at this point in dry circuit conditions will be overheating, so he would be struggling for grip, will the Ferrari driver. So watch that one closely. It's advantage Shakes. Now on the back straight, on the exit of turn 16, he's drained his battery as the Red Bull driver, but he's going to go for it. Who will be braver on the brakes is the question. We'll catch up with that in a second because we have to give kudos, we have to give credit, we have to give the acclaim to the man who will cross the line in P1 and win the initial race of the Breakaway Racing League season. CPI Mango, freshly squeezed race win over here, and definitely Duke will come home in P2, but behind him Zule managed to keep the likes of Shakes behind him. Let's watch definitely Duke come home now in that P2 spot. Zule will come home in P3, having, I believe, been lapped. Cubzino P4, Shakes P5, Billy Hendricks is still running. It looks like it's going to be a P6 for him. Q Main managed to keep that car intact despite some issues earlier on. It's going to be a P7 for him. And I am sure, despite all those penalties, will the P8 Cubzino's inverter died as the DRS is enabled by race control pretty much at the end of proceedings here, folks. We are watching definitely Duke bring it home for the final lap of this here race. Ahead of him, of course, is Billy Hendricks, who's going to come home to take the P6 spot. Q Main gave us some great entertainment earlier on versus I Am Show. Oh, man. Q Main has crossed the line. It's going to be P7 for him. Here comes Billy Hendricks. And it's a decent points finish for the man who could have had something to say as far as podium places are concerned. P6 for him. And we will now give our applause and kudos to definitely Duke, who will or has come across the line for that P2 spot. Or is he only now beginning his final lap? Man, oh man. Whoa, what a race that was. Who was your driver of the day? Let me see in the comments section. Cubzino, sadly for him, is inverter finished. Duke is the only driver who was not lapped, says Zotile. That's why we're watching this man still making his way across towards the end of this here circuit. Beautifully done by Duke. Remember, he did make that crucial mistake to Duke, earned a drive-through penalty when he was too quick to go on the throttle. Driver of the day, according to the game, is Q-Main. Is Duke always glitching? So says Zotile. What a beautiful race that was, folks. Welcome to a brand new Breakaway Racing League season. Tier 3 action. Look at that man. Mango. Freshly squeezed. P1 freshly squeezed. Podium place. That is how it's done, folks. He is the standard. He is the benchmark. And we will see how his season pans out. He has put the entire Breakaway Racing League pyramid. The entire organization is on notice because Mango is here to stay, and he will stake a claim on that fight towards those top positions. Beautifully done. Congratulations to Mango, definitely Duke, and Zule. Well, folks, that's been your Tier 1 action. Remember to tune in 8 p.m. tomorrow. Like the stream. Just before we end it, like the stream and subscribe to our channel. And we will be back for more Breakaway Racing League action tomorrow, 8 p.m. Tier 2, this very circuit, the Miami International Autodrome. And on Thursday, it's the top tier, Tier 1 of Breakaway Racing League action. What a sensational master class by CPI Mango we have just seen. And folks, we will see you in the second tier of Breakaway Racing League tomorrow. Thank you and good night.